Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the second day of the IPN Retreat. Today, we're going to start off with presentations by student organizations. So it's a good opportunity to learn about what activities are available and what's being done by our student organizations. You'll find that there are lots of opportunities for engaging the public and also working together for social and entertainment purposes, as well as for scientific advancement. So I'm going to hand the podium over to our speakers today, our first set of speakers. So it's Alex and Isabella, who will be talking about GSAN. Thanks. Take it away.
Thank you so much for such a lovely introduction, Ed. And good morning, everyone. My name is Alex Bailey, and this is my colleague, Isabella. And we represent GSAN. For those of you who may not know GSAN, or if this is your very first time being introduced to GSAN, this stands for the Graduate Student Association for Neuroscience. And we basically work as your student body. Now, just to give you a little sense about who we are and what we do, we are composed of 5 different executive members who oversee an entire group of students who make up the entire student body. So we're composed of not only myself and Isabella, but also our amazing VP Comms and Outreach, Hio, who will also be presenting later today, as well as our VP Finance and Services, known as Simon, and we also have Andrea, who serves as our VP Social. So to present a little bit more about what we do specifically, I would like to open the floor to Isabella.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for being here super bright and early, and enjoy the breakfast. So what we do at GSAN is we host events. We also have resources for all the IPN student body. This includes all the academic, social, sustainability, and also well-being and advocacy for all students. We focus on communicating all this information to everyone through a variety of means, including workshops, speakers, a lot of emails. Sorry about that, but I hope they're helpful. And we also fund and subsidize a lot of the activities that IPN students are involved with. So I'm going to run through a lot of what we do very quickly. So we have academic initiatives. This includes IPN 101, which we'll be hosting at some point in October. We also have workshops for both R and French classes. If anyone's interested, welcome to Quebec for all new students. We also host social initiatives. This includes both virtual and in-person events. We had a barbecue, amazing barbecue last week. Lovely food, lots of fun and joy for everyone after the pandemic. We also will be having a Halloween event and a Christmas event, so stay posted for that one. For new and international students, we have support groups. We also have a help desk. I know it can be very discombobulating and there's a lot of questions going around, especially when you just get here. We also have a buddy program, so if anyone's interested in that, we are closing applications tomorrow. It's a chance to work with an incoming student, help them out. It gives you co-curricular record hours, so that's also a plus. And we're also in close discussions with the ISS, which is for international students, to help everyone out how we can. We also have student well-being initiatives. This includes a peer support group or a peer support program when you have a buddy or a peer to help you one-on-one. Also discussions groups and an advocacy officer to help you with anything you might need. Finally, we have sustainability initiatives. This includes the Green Lab initiative to keep all our labs and all our events sustainable. So we do try our best to keep everything recyclable, compostable, and eco-friendly. So we have all of that, but for that we need help. So I'll leave it to Alex to invite you all to this.
Thank you kindly, Isabella. So just as a little shout out to everyone who might be interested in joining GSAN or want to get more involved in student life, we are going to be sending out calls for joining us with the deadline for September 25th, which will be next week. We have a variety of different positions that you can join that are either more on the creative side, so doing things, for example, by helping out with our websites and design, but also by getting involved with creating different types of events, be it academic or social. We're also going to be in the process of making a brand new position, which is going to be called the VP Wellness. So for all students to be able to ensure that we can have your back every single step of the way along your career as a graduate student. If you have any questions, please be certain to check on our QR code or to reach out to us on social media or email. We look forward to seeing you, and most importantly, hope that you enjoy an amazing retreat. Thank you so much for having us.
Before we forget, we also have social media and a variety of ways for everyone to contact us. Just to keep in mind, we will also have a Dragon Boat event next Friday. We will be having the buddy program closing tomorrow, and we're open for applications for everyone for the next week and a half. There we go. That should be the end, and we have merch. Thank you.
Thank you.
I also just wanted to add that this presentations will be posted on the IPN website, so if you didn't capture the QR code, you'll have an opportunity to go and pick it up there later. So the next thing I'd like to do is introduce 4 of our student organizations and activities. 3 of them are well established, so Brain Reach, Neurolingo, and the Brain Info. I guess Brain Info is the newest of those, but we have yet a newer one, which is about to be launched, called Integrate and Fire, and I think it's really exciting. They're all really great initiatives, and you'll hear about them now from our representatives. Come on up, guys. So the presentations are here, just click on your own.
Yeah, do you want to start?
Hello, hello. Hi, everybody. My name is Zishan, and this is Sophia, and we are 2 graduate students in the IPN here to talk to you about BrainReach. I'm here representing BrainReach High School, and Sophia represents BrainReach Elementary, and we also have BrainReach North, who unfortunately couldn't be here today to represent us, but Sophia will be talking to you about them as well. So just to briefly give you an explanation, if you haven't heard already what BrainReach does, it's kind of self-explanatory. We're a science outreach group that aims to inform the public about the brain and neuroscience, specifically targeting children in high schools and elementary schools, and also indigenous communities all throughout the Montreal and Quebec area. So we were founded in 2011 by Dr. Josephine Nalbantoglu, and since then we're managed by graduate students in the IPN, but we've also started to expand a lot more, and we're now including students all across Montreal at UDM, Concordia, basically everywhere across Montreal. And we have the main goal, like I said, just to inspire the love of neuroscience by sharing our enthusiasm, our knowledge, and communicating neuroscience to the public and to students. So the scope of our program, it can be divided again by elementary, high school, and north. Elementary school tends to focus on grade 4 students. It has about 8 lessons that students present across the academic year, with about 1 lesson per month where they go to visit the school and present a lesson for those students. High school has the same sort of format. It has about 6 lessons and 1 lesson per month, but high school volunteers tend to go to high school students and present to grade 9 students. So the lessons are a bit higher level and targeted towards grade 9 students. And then finally, North gets to present to grade 2 and 10 students, but they do their outreach to 18 teacher-directed modules, and they go on outreach trips all across Quebec, which Sophia will talk to you a bit more about in detail later. In addition to all of that, we also provide lessons and workshops and one-time events that occur all across the city, just to give students a chance to volunteer in their community, maybe at science centers or museums, and talk about their neuroscience research or any kind of neuroscience topic that the public might be interested in hearing about. So our yearly curricula for high school and elementary kind of looks a bit like this. So we have for elementary school, we talk about an introductory lesson where we explain to them what is the brain, how does it function, and then we build off of that and go on some basic topics like what is the brain made of, the 5 senses, attention, memory, and so on. And you can see high school follows a similar format, but maybe with lessons that are a bit higher level. So we still talk about the brain, but we introduce it as an organ, and we talk about the different neurons that are sort of making up that organ. Then we go into more broad topics of attention, sleeping and dreams, and et cetera, and many more to come. So at least for high school, we're constantly developing more and more lessons. I know that I'm working, for example, on a lesson for memory that we're going to be incorporating this year. So we're always open to suggestions for new lessons to include into our curricula. And so finally, we want to mention that we will be offering our program mostly in person this year. So despite the COVID-19 pandemic, BrainReach has not taken a break. We have been operating the past 2 years virtually. It's been a rough 2 years for us, but we're happy to say that we're going to be back in person and we're going to keep on going. And we will provide workshops as well, and we will train and teach you on everything you have to worry about not being prepared to go to schools to talk to children, we will teach you all that information.
So for Brainreach North, they basically focus on going to North remote and Indigenous communities in Quebec. And as you can see on the board, that's all the lessons that they have. So they have 18 original activity-based lessons. All of them have detailed lesson plans and background information for the teachers. They have printable materials. They have vocabulary sheets. They have quizzes. They also have videos to illustrate the content of the lessons. And in the past, they've also done outreach trips and public events to reach even more students. Obviously, with the pandemic, this has been a little bit on hold, but they should be restarting this year. So some examples of the things that they did last year, they have developed a lesson on sleep with a vocabulary quiz that tests the knowledge of the students after the lesson. They also made a video on the emotions that we have in the brain. And as a side note, Brainreach North is always looking for illustrators. So if you're more artistically inclined, you like to draw, then it's a very good chance to join. So they're looking for people who might draw something in whiteboard style or illustrate the videos to complement the PowerPoints. This can be live action demos, for example, and they can be prepared either for in-lesson materials or ahead of the class. So they're also currently looking for volunteers. So you can see on the board everything that they have available this year. So if you want to be a content creator, then that would include lessons, videos, posters, postcards, activity booklets, as well as translators for all the content that they're making. So it's bilingual, so it would be English and French. And if you want to sit on the administrative side of things, then they also have school contact coordinators. So these are the people that reach out to the schools that Brainreach North visits. They also have outreach trip coordinators, who are the people that actually organize these trips that Brainreach North takes. Volunteer coordinator that coordinates the content creators. Social media coordinator, and the newsletter coordinator. And if you're interested in any of these positions, you won't be on your own. There's always someone in the committee that helps you out if you run into trouble or if you're not sure what to do. And over the past few years, Brainreach has expanded quite a bit. So you can see in the middle, we have the schools that are reached by Brainreach Elementary and Brainreach High School. And then on the right is the schools that were reached by Brainreach North. So you can see that elementary and high school focus in schools within Montreal, whereas Brainreach North focuses on schools in Quebec. And as of last year, we had 130 volunteers, reaching about 3,000 students in 40 different schools. So our programs generally receive positive feedback. The teachers really like it. They really like the quality of the lessons. They really like the volunteers that come up. They also have really positive experiences about, positive comments about their experiences with Brainreach. The volunteers also really like volunteering and teaching the kids, so they usually think that the content is appropriate, that it's easy to follow, that it's engaging. We prepare all the lessons for you, so you don't need to worry about how to make a PowerPoint, how to explain things to the kids. That is already done for you. And usually the kids really like it too, so taken together, the kids love it, the teachers love it, the volunteers love it, and if you choose to join us, chances are so will you. So we are looking for volunteers during the semester. The deadline to register is October 14th. So if you want to volunteer, you can either take up classes in elementary or high school, or you can volunteer for Brainreach North. Or if you don't want to commit to teaching all the lessons, you can also volunteer for one-time events. And if you're interested, there's the emails and there's the website at the bottom. So on the website, you'll be able to fill out our registration form. And if you're a little bit scared of teaching kids, you don't want to commit yourself too much, you want to start with something else, we also have committee positions in high school and elementary. So both of us are looking for volunteer coordinators, as well as the school coordinator, some external events and outreach coordinator, and the materials coordinator. So if you're interested in any of these positions or you just want to hear more about them, please email us at the IPN Brainreach email. And thanks.
Okay, hi everyone, good morning. Thanks so much for coming in early to hear about our work. We're really excited to share with you. So first we're going to be talking about Neurolingo. So Neurolingo, we really aim to create a space where community members of all different science backgrounds, or even of no science background at all, can learn about the current neuroscience research that we are all doing here at McGill. So I didn't introduce you to myself. My name is Hillary. It's really nice to meet you. I'm a PhD student. This is my colleague, Hio. And we started this group with some other students about 3 years ago, 2.5 years ago. What do we do? Our main kind of goal is to organize these public conferences or public events where people, like I said, of any background, not scientists or scientists if they're interested, can come in and learn about what current students are doing, with the goal of impacting society by enhancing the public's trust and understanding of neuroscientific research. We also film professional videos of the speakers' presentations so that our speakers have like a takeaway for their own professional development. And to really support them in this process, make sure that they're delivering their research to the best of their ability, make sure that we're communicating clearly with the public and that it's engaging and understandable. We provide speaker training. So we're helping to develop our speaker trainers, helping to develop skills to communicate our research to the general public. So our speaker trainers, like I really wanted to talk about. In the past few years, we've had several different trainers. You'll recognize some faces from the IPN, including David Ragsdale, who we'll be hearing from this morning, and also Ed, of course, as well as some non-scientist trainers. So these are people who are more communication experts outside of the field of science. So Michelle Rochon is like a science journalist, but mostly focused on like the non-science side of things. And Nicolas Bellevaux has been a professional in presentation training for a few years. So we get the perspective of both scientists and non-scientists, so we can make sure that we're communicating the information accurately and properly, but also without people getting lost in the details. So this fall, we're going to be organizing an event in November. So we've just picked our date. It's November 26th. And we're having actually our previous speakers who've already undergone a few months of training and have already given their presentations, but they didn't have the opportunity to give it in person just yet. So we're going to be doing that now. So they've already filmed and recorded these talks. You can find them online if you're interested on our YouTube channel, but we will be holding an in-person event, and we encourage you to attend that, or even more so, invite other people that you know who are enthusiastic or interested in science, whether that be your family, friends, or just other people in your community, to come and learn about the research that has been going on for a few years. And finally, in the springtime, we'll be holding an event where we'll be training a new batch of speakers once again. So we will be making a call probably at the end of the semester for new speakers to come and join us to receive training from our excellent speaker trainers and to present hopefully in person in the spring. So keep an eye out on the newsletters and on our social media for that call. And this is our team. So there's myself and Hio, but then we also have many other wonderful members who are in the IPN, but also from the University of Montreal. So we've expanded, and we give presentations in both English and French, so our students from both universities support us in that way. So if you see any of us around, please feel free to come and talk to us and ask us about it. And if you want to get in touch between now and our call for speakers, here's our social media, as well as our email. And once again, just keep an eye out for our call for speakers. Is there anything you want to add to that?
No, it's all good.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
No problem. Okay, with the hopes of not confusing you, I'm going to switch to another organization now.
You're presenting?
Yeah.
Oh.
You can stay if you want. Okay, so now talking about Brain Info. So this is a more recent addition to the IPN. I think we launched just over a year or a year and a half ago. So basically the idea behind Brain Info is this question of what do people want to ask a neuroscientist? Okay, so we started off with this question, and we actually just started by asking our family and friends, like, what kind of questions do you have for a neuroscientist? What questions do you have about the brain, about mental health, all the things that fall under neuroscience? And they gave us a really wide range of questions. So some people wanted to know what is neuroscience, really like simple questions, as well as questions that were much more complicated and much more detailed. So there was this really broad range. So now this is where we started to need some help. So we are looking for neuroscientists or yourself to be part of the team of students who are answering these questions and doing so in a scientifically informed manner. So although people have all these awesome questions, it's hard for them to access information that they can really trust is reliable, isn't biased, things like that. So where we come in is that we are expert at researching, expert at doing literature searches and things like that. And we can help them find like scientifically supported answers to their questions. So about us, we are a bilingual neuroscience information service. Our main goal is strengthening communication between scientists and the community by giving them personalized responses to their specific questions. So for the public, we connect the community to experts in neuroscience, and we provide tailored, accurate information and fact-checked resources. The overall goal is just making science more accessible. For students, it's an excellent opportunity to improve your science communication skills, particularly your written science communication skills, but it can also come in other forms, as I'll mention. And also to learn about what the community really needs from neuroscience and what the community is interested in. So what can you do? We're recruiting volunteers for a lot of different roles right now. So our biggest role is the writers. These are the people who prepare the responses to people's questions. So it includes researching, writing, and editing answers to community questions. We also need translators, typically translating from English to French, people to manage our website and make that a more engaging and useful resource, graphic designers, social media contributors, and archiving team so that we can keep track of all like the over 100 responses that we've sent so far. And finally, other members to join our admin team. If you're interested in what we do, if you have other ideas or thoughts that you'd love to share with us, we would be really open to hearing them. So just to show you like kind of how our workflow works, I'll go really briefly, but basically people go to our website, they submit a question to us, it comes into our system where we will assign it to a volunteer with the most relevant experience. This volunteer prepares that scientifically supported response. Then we share it with a second volunteer, and we have this back and forth process where we kind of perfect it, make sure it's clearly communicated and that the information is accurate. And then once we're all happy with the response, we send it out, we share it on our social media if that's okay with them, etc. So here's our team. I won't go through them all, but again, if you see any of us around, please feel free to say hi. And we are currently recruiting volunteers, so you can visit our website or you can scan this QR code later when it's available to you. And thank you all so much.
Hello, everybody. So hi, again, my name is Yushan, and this is Henry, and we're both graduate students in the IPN. And we're here to talk to you about a new student initiative called the Integrate and Fire Big Questions in Neuroscience Seminar Series. So as I'm sure that you're all aware, the networking and conversation opportunities that we've had over the past few years have been very scarce due to the COVID-19 pandemic. And that's really a shame when you consider that, living in Montreal, we're really surrounded by some really impressive neuroscience research and labs, not just at McGill, but all across the Montreal community. So we believe that it would be really useful, we really should be taking advantage of this opportunity to really integrate the many diverse perspectives that exist throughout this city. So what Henry and I came up with is this idea to start a seminar series where we would take the different research perspectives and, we would take the different research perspectives and we would create a new sort of seminar series that would be, in addition to the IPN Retreat, taking an approach where we have more of a conversational approach to how we approach science. So to give you an idea of how that would work, a lot of the times you have seminar series and symposiums that are very results-driven. So you would go to a seminar, you would present maybe a snippet of your results. If you have any, you would answer some questions, and then that could be the end of it. The idea of having any kind of growth, any kind of collaboration or scientific discourse or debate, that tends to be optional. But instead, for this seminar series, we want to focus more on those optional parts that we don't really get from traditional symposiums. So the way it would work is that we're hoping to really have more of a focus on the different perspectives and the different theories that each of us brings from our different labs all across the university. So that instead of having to focus more on the data and the results that we usually focus on, we would have more meaningful and deeper conversations on the perspectives that we each have for our different research topics.
So how would that work in practice, right? So it's all very well to say we want to stimulate discussion. But we think we've come up with a format that kind of really emphasizes that kind of conversation aspect of collaboration. So basically what you can expect if you come to one of our seminars, we'll start with a drinks and social to get to know each other. And then our speakers, our 5 speakers, will present their work in the context of the seminar title. So again, this presentation is really to focus on how your work fits into the topic that we're talking about. If you have if there's no data that you want to discuss, if you really just want to talk about the question, that's actually encouraged, right? We really don't want to get bogged down in the weeds. And then after the speakers have all been introduced and given their presentations, we open the floor to discussion. So this will be chaired by me and Zishan, but the discussion we hope will mainly take place between the speakers. And in fact, we encourage that anyone attending joins the conversation as well, right? So in this format, we really hope that we can get like a really interesting conversation going. And so on that note, now that you know a bit more about the format, I'm really excited to be able to introduce to you the topics of the seminars for this year. So in late November, we're going to have a seminar on representation theory. And really, we want to discuss here how whether representations are, or the idea of representations are sufficient for understanding cognition. Is that enough? Or do we need to dig deeper, and is that not considering perhaps the more biophysical mechanisms in play here? In late February, we're going to have a seminar on reductionism, and basically, we're all in these different fields, and many of us are trying to understand learning. But how do we marry those different levels? Do we need to? Is that really important for scientific discourse? And then finally, in late May, we're going to have a discussion about the evolution of the brain and what that means for understanding the brain, right? Because if you think of the brain as being optimized to solve different problems, that means the problems it evolved to solve are critically important for understanding the brain. And we're not limited to these ideas. This is just the start. We really, if you have ideas for other topics that aren't discussed here, we really want to hear from you. So please get in touch. There's an option on the sign-up form to give us ideas, to speak about your ideas for potential seminars. And, hopefully we can kind of start a conversation with you and get you involved in the Integrate and Fire seminar series. So with that, please feel free to register through the QR code that will be available on the website as well. And if you're interested in working with us, we're hiring at all levels for administration through to event planning and running. Just get in touch at helloifss@gmail.com. Thanks, everyone. Have a lovely day.